Hello and welcome to MCPSS Athletics. My name is Calvin Chris, Athletic Director for Mobile County Public Schools. In studio today we have from Davidson High School, Athletic Director and Head Football Coach Fred Riley and Academic Advisor Mary Wright. But first, let's get to the scoreboard. In high school football, Bryant defeated Davidson 34-23 behind Crandall's 2 second-half rushing touchdowns. Williamson lost to #1 Spanish Fort 49-6. Mary G. Montgomery picked up their first win of the season with a 13-9 win over Theodore. Tuggle and McSpadden each had over 100 yards rushing to lead the Vikings. LaFleur lost to St. Paul's 42-14. Viger beat Faith Academy 51-27 behind Flowers' 4 touchdowns. Gulf Shores defeated BC Rains 49-21. Cincinnati dropped a 45-7 decision to Saraland. And Murphy lost to McGill-Tulane 52-18. Blunt won the 6A Region 1 title with a 31-20 victory over Baker. Vaughn led the Leopards with 199 yards rushing. In high school volleyball action, congratulations to Baker High School who qualified for the Elite 8 State Volleyball Tournament. Baker will play on Wednesday, October 30th at 9 a.m. against Mountain Brook. And that is it for this week's scoreboard. We'll be back right after this break with my guest.
I saw Mr. Tillman's class. Just that quick little 5 minutes I had with him made me think that I really wanted to do small engines. I just love tinkering with them. Just a gearhead. Graduating from the Career Tech Center has allowed me to better myself, make more money, be more informed about the trade that I'm going to be in. I just felt like doing a trade is just better than working in an office or something. I have to be outside working with my hand or something.
MCPSS Career Tech. Start your future today.
For me, it started back in 1942 when my family moved to Mobile, and I began my high school career at Murphy High School. Today, it's so important to be able to ingrain in yourself what are you going to do in future life, and you need to be prepared. And so subsequently, everything at Murphy was very important in my life, and so it was instrumental in preparing me for future life and future profession that I wanted to be in.
Welcome back to studio. Today we're featuring Davidson High School, and our first guest today is Coach Fred Riley, the Athletic Director and the Head Football Coach. Coach, appreciate you coming by today.
Good to be here. Nice to see you again.
Coach, you want to tell us a little bit about your season? I know you've got a young squad, and you want to just kind of tell us.
We didn't make the playoffs for the first time since 2007. We are a very young squad, offensively especially. We played 4 15-year-olds for most of the season on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, we were a little older on that side, but really just didn't play well on that side this year and struggled a little bit there. I guess the good news is the last time we didn't make the playoffs in 07, the next year we went to the semis. So, hopefully we'll continue to move forward there. Our freshman team went undefeated this year. The first undefeated season we know of in freshman football at Davidson back at least far back as '82. And it was the best group of kids we've ever had. So, we've got a good group coming, but we still have a lot of work to do.
Coach, I heard a coach way back when said for every sophomore you started, it usually was a loss. So
we have used that the entire 10 years I've been there, and it pretty much holds true. And we start 5 and we've lost 5, and I think there's a lot of truth to that. There's no substitute for game experience,
right?
And there's no substitute for age.
That's true.
When we were during the years that we were sort of romping and stomping, we were playing with a lot of 18, 19-year-olds. And then the average age of our team now is about 16 and a half. And it makes a big difference when you're playing 16-year-olds against 19-year-olds. And hopefully we'll get a few more kids that failed the first grade because they didn't know their colors, and get a little older as the years roll on.
Coach, what about your senior class? Are you losing a lot of seniors? Or?
We've only got we've got about 21 seniors out of the 88 kids in the program. only about 12 of those are actually playing right now, getting in the games. I think we have 33 juniors and a good mix of juniors and sophomores. This senior class, we knew it was going to be a thin group. We had a really good group the year before, a big group that had done most of the playing, and a lot of these seniors, it was their first time ever to start. And even at that, some of them still as seniors really didn't do anything but cover kicks this year. So we were even young in the senior class in terms of experience.
Coach, tell us a little bit about your region. I know it was a tough region. Nobody went undefeated. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw Jack French say last week that not even the SEC plays 3 tough games in a row. Usually, a lot of times they don't play 2 in a row. They've got you got a Chattanooga or a Florida Atlantic somewhere stuck in there, and all of us had our run of 3 tough games in a row that we had to deal with and sort through, and it ended up getting McGill one week in their little window. It got us, everybody got had one time, and in Blunt, even as the region champions, beat Bryan on the last play of the game, beat Theodore with less than 2 minutes to go. And then Mary Montgomery, who just got a win. I mean, they led McGill at halftime. They led us in the third quarter. I mean, they got them a win last week. I mean, it just so tough week in and week out, and what you do to one another. We knew going into it there were going to be a couple of pretty good teams that weren't going to be in the playoffs. We were a good team, not a great team. Baker was probably at the end of the season better than us. But they're not going either, and it's tough. It's tough. But then you turn around and look at who Blunt, McGill, Bryant, and Murphy draw in the first round. Auburn, Opelika, Smith Station, Carver, Montgomery. That's a pretty brutal region too. You got Central Phoenix City up there. I think won 7 games and didn't make the playoffs out of that region. It was probably the 2 best regions in the South, and we're having to play one another in the first round. So it's going to create some pretty good games.
Coach, have you found that this year the coaching was great? Our principals have made some hires with Ed Bryan and Baker and Coach Jones. Like you said, he did a great job at Mary Montgomery. So the coaching's gotten a lot better.
It really has over the years. I mean, and we've talked about this before. I mean, really prior to, Rush Probst changed coaching in South Alabama. Rush Probst and Steve Savarese. They were the 2 guys that introduced 7 days a week, 365 days a year being football coaches. And for good or bad, they introduced that to South Alabama. And Rush did it on this side of the bay, Steve did it on the other side of the bay. And then Glenn Vickery, being a disciple of Steve Savarese, really brought it into Davidson, back in 2000. And all that really led to, more competitive teams, better football, better coaching. It ended up, obviously, with us getting paid better. I mean, there's a lot of dominoes that happened because of the work ethic that Rush and Steve brought in. And now our jobs, I mean, if you go back to the money that the coaches were making in 2001, you don't get Bruce Breland.
Right.
You don't get Jack French. You don't get Mark Hurt. I mean, these guys that are coaching in our system now, those guys, you will never have seen them coaching in Mobile County if we were making $48,000 a year to coach. Those guys would be coaching somewhere else, and football in this county would have been, a mediocre at best.
Right. Coach, I know you said you had a small senior class. Will you have anybody that signs maybe?
Tyler Jackson, who was our best player as an offensive lineman, had ankle surgery 3 weeks ago. The people that had offered him had committed to him and are going to stay with him. He's going to get a chance to sign. We've got 2 or 3 other kids that might, but they're all going to be small college. Our best college prospect is actually our junior corner, whose name is Tyler Jackson also. But he's 6'3", 175. Long arms, high hips. I mean, a really good football. He's an SEC kind of corner, and it's going to be interesting to see how he gets recruited over the next year.
Coach, what are some of your other players this year that you've had that have been?
Of all people, David Valverde, our place kicker. down the stretch has probably been one of our more consistent players. We had our place kicker transferred middle of the season. We went a week without a kicker. We were fortunate enough to beat Baker without a kicker, and then David came off the soccer team, and David was played for the Costa Rican 17 and under World Cup team. I mean, he is the real deal, and he has made every extra point, every field goal he's attempted. He kicks off in the end zone. He kicked an onside kick the other night that was just beautiful that we got back. He's been a great addition, and probably obviously the biggest surprise, because week 4 was the first time we ever laid eyes on him as a football player. So he's really been really good for us. Tevin Brown has had a good season at linebacker for us and played well. Jerry McQueen has had a good season at corner and played well for us. We've got 2 guys in the offensive line. Cale Evans and T.J. Mixon are starting in the offensive line now as juniors. That one of them's Terrence Mixon's son. They were the JV offensive linemen early in the year. And I'll gig Terrence a little bit here now. His boy's 15 years old and is a junior in high school. Needed to wait a couple of years, Terrence, before you put him in school. We've got he's a 15-year-old junior. We got a kid named Martin Gwynn who's a 14-year-old sophomore. And that's Martin Gwynn needs to be back at Clark Middle School. So we've got some of that in our program right now. Like we talked about, referenced earlier, we got a lot of kids that are on track for graduation age-wise or early. And again, like I said, then 05 when we went undefeated, our team was 18, 19 years old. I mean, we had beards. We don't have any now.
Coach, appreciate you coming by, and we'll have you back a little bit later.
Enjoyed it, yes sir.
We'll be back right after this break.
I saw Mr. Tillman's class. Just that quick little 5 minutes I had with him made me think that I really wanted to do small engines. I just love tinkering with them, just a gearhead. Graduating from the Career Tech Center has allowed me to better myself, make more money, be more informed about the trade that I'm going to be in. I just felt like doing a trade is just better than working in an office or something. I have to be outside working with my hand or something.
MCPSS Career Tech. Start your future today.
Nationwide, an average of 24 children die each year.
And another 17,000 are injured in bus-related accidents.
Many of these can be prevented. The safety of our children comes first.
For the safety of our future, obey all traffic laws related to school bus safety.
Hi, I'm Pat Mitchell, Director of Transportation for the Mobile County Public School System. We're asking you to obey all bus safety laws. It could save a life. Remember, stop ahead when you see red. Our future depends on it.
Welcome back. We have our second guest today, Miss Mary Wright, the academic advisor at Davidson High School. Appreciate you coming by today.
Thanks for having me out, Coach Chris.
You want to tell us a little bit about the academic advisor and what that encompasses now? I know you could probably go on for 30 minutes, so give us all.
I'll be brief. I have 2 main jobs. One is to monitor Alabama high school athletic requirements and all of the paperwork that goes with that. And then the second is to make sure that kids that are athletes in our program are on track to accept a scholarship if they are offered one, and to be able to graduate on time.
Okay, this job is year-round. I mean, it's not seasonal like a lot of supplements are. I mean, what do you have to do in the summer? Let's take that for instance.
I do 2 different things in the summer. Obviously we work real closely with the guidance department to make sure that our athletes are properly scheduled, that are already on campus. We work with the NCAA and the colleges of where we've sent seniors from the previous year to get them eligible, and then trying to find our incoming freshmen. On the freshman football team this year, I think we have kids coming from 13 different middle schools. So finding those kids, getting them scheduled, getting them matched up with their right program and coach takes pretty much the whole summer. And then we're rocking and rolling and back in the school year again. And then the other thing that I try to do is be sort of a liaison between the field house and the teaching faculty and riding herd during the school year. So if we've got an athlete getting off course, his teachers can maybe get to me a little bit easier than they can to the field house.
Ms. Wright, you want to talk a little bit about how it's not just you, and I think Davidson does it as well as anybody, that it takes more than just you to get this going. Would you like to go through that?
It absolutely does, and to be honest, it really starts with our principal. Mr. Copeland has really blessed us in that we offer what we call core electives, in that our children in addition to the English, math, history, and science that you have to take to graduate from high school, have the opportunity to take an extra science or take, like this year we're offering Southern fiction and African American history that are taught by highly qualified core teachers. So it's not that if we're not in English, math, or science, we're in the gym. We're in the classroom all day long working on all of our other skills, and that takes the whole faculty.
People don't realize a student that's a prospect going to college, you can't just stick them in 4 PEs and driver's ed. I mean, there's certain courses that the clearinghouse will take and some that they won't.
They're right, and as part of a district, those courses are set based on the district. So the courses for us are the same at BC Rain and the same at Baker, which is nice in that we all are operating under the same guidelines. You have to have 16 core courses, and it's broken down into a combo of English, math, history, and science. But if you're in the gym all day, you're not doing it right. And the other thing that has evolved with the NCAA is you can't decide going into your senior year that all of a sudden I'm going to be eligible now. That ship has really pretty much sailed. And that's one of the things that we've had to start tracking and meeting with parents sometimes at the end of that sophomore year and saying, if we don't get this together right now, he's not going to be in a position to accept any scholarship offers.
Ms. Wright, do you just about have to treat every kid as a 9th grader like they're going to the SEC or the Big Ten?
You absolutely do, because we don't know how big they're going to get. James Riley, who is a sophomore now at the Citadel, is a perfect example of that. He came into us 5'8", 150 pounds, and left as a starting linebacker signing at the Citadel. If we had treated him like he wasn't going to make it, he wouldn't have been in a chance to take that opportunity, and it's an amazing opportunity. So we do treat all of our freshmen that way, and then as you know, at about fall of their junior year, as they've done that second or third growth spurt, things kind of start to separate a little bit, but we really don't make that decision until going into their senior year. And then, you know, we plan with everybody, what are you going to do if you can't play college football?
Ms. Wright, we've mentioned the NCAA Clearinghouse. You want to briefly tell us what that is for those that may not know?
And the NCAA Clearinghouse, which they like to go by the term Eligibility Center now because evidently that's much more friendly, is based in Indianapolis, and it's actually a very small operation. The group of people that look at our scholarships, I think, is about 7, our transcripts. They collect ACT or SAT information and then all of your students' transcripts, and it's basically a sliding scale. The higher your ACT score is, the lower your GPA can be in those 16 core classes. They don't care what you made in art or driver's ed or football. They just care about those core classes. For us, it's about getting the right combination of what the child is good at and taking additional of those classes. And then they communicate with the college and say that the child is either eligible immediately to receive a scholarship and receive aid, or that they're not. And for them, it's a year-round operation and dealing with them as well. And they do a lot of due diligence. We've seen that increase over the past 3 or 4 years with them, where they are coming back and asking for a lot more information other than just a kid's scholarship.
And it changes every year, doesn't it?
It seems to change every year. We're in the middle of a huge transition right now in that the class of 2016 graduates have a much stiffer guideline of eligibility. So for a child that's a senior this year, based on an ACT score, if he could have a GPA of 2.5, for that class of 2016, he's going to have above a 2.7. That's a big difference. That's more than one class. And so we're all transitioning, and they're transitioning into that as well.
Ms. Wright, I know you deal with a lot of college coaches. You want to maybe give us an experience you've had with a college coach and a player?
Well, I do deal a lot with the college coaches, and most of my really good stories, the boys are still at college, but I'm a girl. And every now and then I bump up into the He-Man Woman Haters Club where they're not real sure they want to talk to a girl. Typically what happens is they don't really want to talk to me, and they end up going another way, and we send a child to their competing college. That happened for sure at Ole Miss. He wasn't sure about working with me, and we ended up sending a player to Mississippi State. And boy, that next year he was sure eager to talk to me. So that's one of the things that we deal with, and it's evolving. But these college coaches they can look at your child on film. They can see a 40 time. They want to know about their work ethic, their character, their family life, their medical issue, how old they are. And I can provide all that information. And we tell a lot of the coaches, I promise I'm not going to talk about their football skills. I'm going to talk about them as a person. You can get football anywhere. And that's kind of the way that we work. They can talk to Coach Riley and get all the football skills they want.
I just want to commend you. We had a couple of years ago, most people don't know, but we had a child that the parents put him, he was a senior, at Davidson, and for y'all to help him get a scholarship. He did not play that year. He was not eligible. But they thought enough of Davidson High School that they actually put him there to get him eligible. You want to talk a little bit about that experience?
It was really a unique experience in that we had a young man give up his passion for a year to have a chance to get to play college ball for 4 years. And he had to really do almost 4 years worth of work in that 1 year, in that he had been in the gym maybe a little bit more than he needed to be in class. And so we had to start from study skills, being in class all day long, and really had to work. And to watch that young man work and to stand on the sidelines and coach a team, you know, they started calling him coach because he stood on the sidelines, and the sacrifices he had to make. It's a really special thing to turn on the TV now on Saturday and see him. In fact, my husband and I are planning to go this weekend.
That's great.
And watch him play.
Great.
But it was a unique story, and we were just glad it worked out for him because it would have been that much harder if he hadn't made it.
Right, that's exactly right. Well, Ms. Wright, we sure do thank you for coming, and we're going to have you back for a special program later on in the year.
I sure appreciate it. Thanks so much.
All right. We'll be right back after this break.
I'm Ashley Rich, Mobile County District Attorney. The failure to obey school bus safety laws will cost you. It can cost you up to a $3,000 fine and the loss of your driving privileges.
But more than that, it could cost the life of a child. That's why the Mobile County Public School System is urging you to stop and obey all bus traffic laws. Hi, I'm Pat Mitchell, Director of Transportation for the Mobile County Public School System. We're asking you to obey all bus safety laws. It could save a life. Remember, stop ahead when you see red. Our future depends on it.
I saw Mr. Tillman's class. Just that quick little 5 minutes I had with him made me think that I really wanted to do small engines. I just love tinkering with them. Just a gearhead. Graduating from the Career Tech Center has allowed me to better myself, make more money, be more informed about the trade that I'm going to be in. I just felt like doing a trade is just better than working in an office or something. I have to be outside working with my hand or something.
MCPSS Career Tech. Start your future today.
Welcome back to our last segment. We've got Coach Riley, Ms. Wright coming back with us, and we'll talk a little bit about Davidson High School and some of the great things that are going on. Tell us about the ACT scores, Ms. Wright.
We just received, the county as a whole received their ACT scores for last year's, for all the students that took it last year, and for the second year in a row, we had the highest ACT score across our student body of anybody else in the county. We're immensely proud of that. Coach Riley likes to say that we've got to play football like Alabama and study like Vanderbilt, and it's about true. And that's an indication of our ability to do that.
Well, we should also thank the counselors and
and the teachers and the group of students that stay after school and study it and tutor. It's really a school-wide effort to get everybody where they need to be, and it worked this year, and we're excited.
And you throw into there in our International Baccalaureate program, every senior last year in the IB program actually got the IB World degree. They not only completed the program, but they got the degree in the end. There's a lot of places that offer IB, but when it gets to the end, the kids don't get the World diploma. And every one of our seniors got the diploma. Our robotics team in the engineering program, wins the robot national championship every year. I mean, there's just we're such a diverse campus. It's like a mini college. We have little colleges of engineering, colleges of IB, the athletic facility. It really runs like a college. We have a lot of schools within a school there, and it's amazing how all that works together and everybody works to help one another and make that work. I mean, it is a concerted effort.
Do you think this is what keeps your school at the top, is all these different things that you can offer these kids? I mean, I hear kids all the time, if I'm being an engineer, I need to go to Davidson.
Well, I think that, and again, and Mr. Copeland having a plan. And then knowing and then plugging in those pieces, I read a book called Good to Great, and one of the things about taking a good company to a great company was getting the right people on the bus in the beginning that buy into everything that's going on and then turning them loose and letting them go. And that's what he does. He plugs the best of the best into their programs and then lets them do their jobs. And I think Mr. Copeland's probably been in the field house twice in the last 3 years. He doesn't drop in on the IB people. He don't drop in on the Epic people. He is a tremendous leader. And he allows the people that are in there, he trusts them when he hires them to do their job. And then, of course, everyone then in turn takes great ownership in their They want to do great for him, because he allows you that flexibility to succeed and fail on your own. And that in turn brings great teachers. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that him by doing that, we have just a tremendous faculty that comes to work every day and busts their tail every day. I mean, you can go over there right now, walk through that school, and you won't find anybody in the hallway.
Right.
I mean, and just walk around and listen, and all you hear are teachers teaching, and it's an outstanding faculty.
I heard a principal back in the 80s that I worked for had a bad hip, couldn't get around, Mr. Tom McGrow, and he said, Coach, I don't have to go in your classroom every day. He said, a good principal can feel what's going on in his school. And I think Mr. Copeland is one of the best at it. He knows what's going on. He knows everything that's going on, and he don't necessarily be there.
Just because he doesn't say anything about it doesn't mean he don't know it.
Exactly.
I mean, he knows what's going on.
Real briefly, talk about a ninth grader coming in, what you do to prepare them. And I've been to one of your meetings, and you really do a good job. But just if a ninth grader came to Davidson and was going to play football, what would be the first thing you do?
The first thing that we do is we have our freshman football players lift first thing in the morning. So they start their day together as a group in the field house with Coach Riley and their freshman coaches. Anything after that, we think, everybody can have a different schedule. But that way we know when they come to start their morning, they're okay, that are on time, they've had breakfast. In fact, we're really excited about the breakfast for all the schools.
Right.
And that they're ready to start their day. And this is the third year, I think, that we've done that, third or fourth, that we've really gotten it in. And that's made a huge difference, is let's start our day together. And then it's just holding their hand as they transition to high school. It's a big transition. It's a lot of people.
Coach, you want to talk a little bit about your past players? I know you've got quite a few out there.
We've got a lot of guys doing well. We've had 56 guys sign in 9 years, and which is 24% of our seniors have gone on to play college football. The national average is 1%. Jimmy Ward at Northern Illinois leads the nation in interceptions right now in Division I. He will be drafted. He's probably going to get to play in the Senior Bowl, it looks like, after this year. Jaquaski Tart at Samford University is a finalist for for the 1AA Defensive Back of the Year award. I'm not sure what the name of that award is, but he's a finalist for it. Alphonse Taylor's, at Alabama now. He's out there. When they beat Tennessee 45-10, Shank gets to play. And he's in there playing as a redshirt sophomore. Jabrian Niles is still at Auburn. We have so many guys at so many places. Rashad Cunningham is at Kentucky. Everybody. The biggest thing about all those kids right now is they're all on track to graduate and get their degrees. And the emphasis that we have put on that, and also the emphasis that if you're not, everybody's not going to get to do this. I mean, it sounds wonderful that, 24%. Well, then again, that means 3 out of 4 don't go to college on football scholarships. What are you going to do? We've got guys in the military serving our country, and we really push the military. We push serving. We push, there's no reason for you not to go out and succeed. All you got to do is go down there and sign on the dotted line and serve your country and learn a skill and make a difference in the world. You ain't got to stand up at the Texaco and drink Fagos and eat Doritos. There's something you can choose to do, and we really push the military and service very, very hard.
Coach, we've got 1 minute. Tell us a little bit about your secret to keeping your staff together. You hardly have a turnover.
I follow the Lewis Copeland model. He allows me flexibility. When a position comes open, he'll say, Coach, all right, you've got this spot, get who you want. He's allowed me to in turn get the right people on the bus, and I leave them alone. I mean, I oversee the program. I allow them to coach. I allow them to work. I give them ownership of their positions, of their side of the ball. And if you get great people plugged into those spots, that is just, it motivates them, it drives them to do well. I mean, I think they want to do well for me.
Right.
Just like I want to do well for Mr. Copeland because of,
Right.
of how we organize and how we're structured. And you know, I've had a pretty good role model to show me how to do that.
That's great. Well, listen, it's been a great time. Y'all are just an access of our county, and I appreciate both of y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for watching today. For Coach Riley, Ms. Wright, this is Calvin Chris. We'll see you next week.